Hey everybody. Awesome. I see lots of green bars. That's what I want actually up here. I want lots of green bars because I'm going to apologize ahead of time. The all of a sudden the internet in the home office has gone haywire the last week, and that's really tough when you run an online business and it was working smoothly. Smoothly in order to run your business. So I need a little call in. So hopefully I won't take too long. But also the second thing is when you're in the business of crisis messaging, you don't get a lot of choice when the emergencies come up. So that's why I am half an hour late delivering this live. So I do have to apologize. And if you're just joining us, I just wanted to jump on to chat about a really interesting article that I think is below this. In fact, if you're catching the replay, it's just it's down there, and it's all about this thing where people are, using their voice in terms of being the leader of an organization to comment on the events of the last week, whatever it be. These big emotional events, frankly. And I did have some notes here I wanted to use, frankly. There they are. 1 minute. Let me just do this. Yeah, these pressing social and political scenes playing out before us. And, the article was a back and forth from different PR experts about if companies should in fact be using them. And I have a couple of viewpoints on this. I want to actually find it on my feed for a second. So if I view my profile, am I allowed to do that? Yeah. But bottom line, a lot of Canada were piping in, and it came down to, should 2021. It's almost like people they're done. We've been given examples in leadership where social media is used as our personal playground for every thought that comes out of our head. And a lot of questions I get from you and people I work with is like, well, is this, it goes in line with is this what I should be speaking to? And is this appropriate for me to say? And I want it to come down, you want to come down on the right side of leadership here, but it's different than when you're trying to say, should I speak up on this particular issue? So the first thing I want to address is that some people in that article said, well, this is just the new trend, and it's like, if you're in business, if you're in basically global public relations, people are expecting to hear from leaders on all topics, like if you're in, you're in. And I'm just, that could be true because that's a trend. I wouldn't say that trends are either gold standards or best practices. And as always, in one of my answers, there's a time and a place for both, because, and that's could be a little confusing because I'm exactly in the business of ushering people into these spaces where they feel more confident to speak their voice, right? So naturally you would think that, of course, I would agree with that statement. But when they're ushered into their vision of thought leadership, right, you come with your own very specific, carefully crafted messages. These messages are really tied to your values, right, and your inner authenticity. So they're coming from you, coming from a place of experience, deep knowledge, and they're often filled with courageous things to say as well. So I would just caution that it's in the application, that they should be approached with planning and strategy. So give me 1 more minute, and I want to just make sure that you guys are good. Good. Copy. Okay. So I'm just double checking that if I miss your comments, it might come up a little later because we're just experiencing a little delay. And here's the two things. So if you're going to step out to a platform, there are two things usually that I would guide clients on in these situations, two appropriate times when this would be, a good plan of action for you. Let's say you're the CEO and you're going to step out onto a platform and address something. If this event, this crisis, whatever, is so personal or so emotional, if it's anything that's opposing or divisive, you just want to check your strategy, and make sure that you have a very strong attachment to one of these two things. One, that your company or you have an attachment, or your clients have an attachment to the outcome of this event. Or two, that you have a very strong history in well steeped in your values. So your company values are literally a part of this equation. So what I mean by that, when you're stepping out and addressing something that's personal or that's a bigger message, and you've made the collective decision as the CEO or the person to step out on that topic, you have to have a very strong attachment to the outcome. So let's talk about outcome. The outcome is that the results of the event are going to be directly related to your product or service. So what I mean by that is the outcome of this movement, this event, this something directly involves how you run your company, the people you hire, the customers you serve. That means the outcome, or it's actually affecting the way you're handling business, the way you're conducting business, the service model you deliver, the product you deliver, something like that. Then it's very, it's game on, in other words, because that makes total sense that you would stand up in some type of position of authority. And therefore that the people would value what a business leader would have to say about that. Number two is if you've been on this a while, if you have built your position of authority on a strong platform all around your values, and you have been espousing this, for a while, like if it's not like you're new to the game here, you have a very long history, in other words, maybe not a long history, but you have a very strong foundation, I'll say, of values around this topic that you can actually stand on. Things like, this sounds like, this is exactly why we built our business this way. These are the type of things that our services are trying to avoid or trying to spearhead now. That type of language, when you're in a leadership position, is a very authentic way and a true way to connect your company to the events of today. So I'll say it the last time is that if you're, as a company, and again, this comes from my PR background, my crisis training background. So for some of you just starting out in your thought leadership space, it may apply. And then I'm going to get more specific in terms of like consultants and thought leadership. But really, it's either the outcome, so it affects you directly, or the values you provide. So put it this way: if you saw the events of last week that happened in the US, and you're a company that sells, I don't know, bottle caps for whatever, or something like that, the bottle cap company could have a very strong customer service model, and it could be a very great company. But if all of a sudden you have never expressed any of the values or outcomes, or your product wasn't exactly linked with what's going on of today, if the leader then stood up and started espousing personal or objectionable comments about the situation, it's just going to look not only out of place, but possibly contrived, and it could do more damage than good, right? That's just the best way to say it. So in my personal opinion, businesses, even still, you don't have to throw out their CEO in front of a pulpit every time something national or catastrophic happens, in my opinion. But when the moment is right, how you show up and lead from a place of empathy, you can use the circumstances as an example. That's like the more professional way to do it here. And I think that a lot of you are still stuck in a place where you're like, even if some of you are still stuck with, well, do I use my personal or my professional? That's like step one. You're not even ready to speak out on anything. If you're still asking those questions, we got to figure that out first. How do I use my social channels? I still have a lot of my personal stuff on there, which could be fine. I'm not saying it isn't. I haven't talked, we haven't had that discussion. But I don't know where to draw the line or how much to speak out, or these are the type of comments I get when I do speak out. It's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. When you're taking this seriously of building a thought leadership role, yeah, you'll have to figure that out. And I'm just curious if I can see any comments here where you have stepped out and used maybe some of that language in your own day-to-day or your business. So the other thing is, I wanted to mention 3 companies and when they spoke out at what was happening in the US. The 3 companies that I know of in Canada were Enbridge, the CEO president of Enbridge, and Suncor, and TC Energy, which is a large provider in Calgary, which, as you know, Calgary has a lot of ties to, they're more embroiled in what happens in the US because of all the pipeline issues and the energy that they're involved in. So again, you have to take things in context. Why are the company CEOs speaking out? Why should you speak out? Okay, does it make sense? And I want to do the difference or point out a difference between a social issue and a political issue. If there's something catastrophic that hits us at just a pure emotional human level, I mean, it's never a bad thing to express sympathy, ever, of course. I think that where you have to be careful is political views for sure, but also framing, using those 2 indicators earlier, framing how you're coming at this. Is it because the outcome is a direct result of the people you love serving and love employing, or your product that you've worked so hard building, or is the result, or is it tied to your values that have worked so hard to building? If you have a history or a platform of these values that you stand on, and that's what's being challenged or attacked right now, then I think those 2 are very good places to start. And the reason that these other companies, the Enbridge, the Suncor, the Calgary, it's interesting. I'll say one thing. And have you noticed a trend in wanting the executives are the people taking a stand? Because no longer is it the place of, it used to be these blanket statements from companies, almost robotic. Companies are getting wise to the fact that they need to put their CEOs in a position of authority. And you notice that's a CEO, that's a person. When you put your person up there, okay, whoever the spokesperson is, you got a whole package that has to go with that. So you're seeing a lot more of CEOs wanting to take a stand on things. So that's happening. That's the one trend. It's the branding kind of that goes into it. And that's exactly what they're just cluing into. I need to step up personally as a thought leader for my company. If I want my company to survive the long term, people are going to need someone to identify with. Very risky to take on, yes. That's why the bigger your company, the more team you're going to surround yourself with on this. And number 2, if it's you, just know that that's what you could be building today. So we could talk about a lot of things, man, like how different countries tie in. When you don't have a team or a PR person, you're going to need to know those skills. That's the last thing I wanted to make clear. When you don't have a team that you can say, okay, let's get down to let's have a strategy meeting here. We got to get our team on this and see where we land. You don't have that. You as business owners and as people who are just starting in this expert world, you don't have that team. So I'd love to help give you some of those tools that help make these decisions. For example, if you get really clear on your values, if you get super clear on your audience, if you can understand where my company needs to be now and then how I have to future pace this for later, you'll know what to do. You will know what to do. When you have those skills, you will know what to do. And they are skills that can be taught. They are tools that can be given and co-created and worked on. And they're tools that last for as long as you want your business to be seen at that level and at that space. So when you build a thought leadership platform, all those pieces are already in place. You will know what to do when the next crisis comes up. You'll know what to do when the next event comes up and you're not sure what to say or how to handle it. You'll know exactly what to say. because you'll know if it affects your outcomes or if it's, just a value-driven statement. You'll know if this applies to you or not. You'll know the tone and the personality that you are putting out and sticking to. You know how your audience is expecting you to authentically show up, and it's all you. So you don't really have to worry about wondering, or shouldn't I? That kind of goes away. So guys, if you are, thank you for sticking around. Listen, I'm back on Thursday, and I think I'll have, well, first of all, it'll be a little more time because I'm going to make it an event. It's just a personal branding exercise. And if you want another, this is something I did with, it's a take on something I delivered last year that I thought I'd deliver to you guys live. If you want another take on this, if we've worked together, you're going to know where a lot of this is going, and you've done a lot of this work and then some. But feel free to come in and try it anyway. It's just a couple more questions to get you in your, how can I be unique? How can I be my own personal brand? What is that? What are some of the questions I need to answer and know about myself? And it's going to take you outside the box with some of those questions. So thanks so much, guys, for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed this little blurb or rant, I guess. Not rant, just a dialogue. And happy to come here and talk about this today. If you do want some help and you're saying, I do want to know and understand what my values are, and if I was to step out as a thought leader, I want to have a clear action plan of what that looks like, then use the link up above to book a call. And if you haven't done that already, I offer them free to people in this group, and we can see what you might be missing on that journey. Are you even ready for it? Do you have everything in place that you need to step on the platform and start to build it? You might. And that's the most fun we get to have, is together one-on-one. So hope you enjoyed today. Comment below if you've seen this article or what you're seeing in the media in terms of business leaders commenting and how that makes you feel. Hopefully you're enjoying your day, and we'll be back Thursday to chat with you guys real soon. Take care. Bye-bye.